Picture this. It is 6 a.m. on a Sunday. You are peacefully sleeping, dreaming about winning the lottery. Suddenly you wake up to a cold, wet nose in your eye and a furry butt parked directly on your forehead. Sound familiar? We have all been there. Living with a cat is an absolute joy, but it can also feel like sharing an apartment with a tiny, incredibly demanding alien who speaks a language entirely made of meows, twitches, and destructive tendencies. You might find yourself staring at your fluffy roommate and wondering, do you think he does this just to annoy me? Is he trying to tell me something important? Or did my cat simply break? Well, my fellow cat parents, you are not alone. Today we are going to crack the code. We are going to translate the most bizarre, confusing, and hilarious signs your cat gives you every single day. I promise you, by the end of this video, you will finally understand what your furry little tyrant is actually saying. Before we dive into the secret world of feline communication, head down to the comments right now and tell me, what is the name of your little troublemaker, and what is the weirdest thing they do? Let's get into it. Before we start decoding their secret messages, we need to take a quick trip back in time to understand exactly what a cat is. You see, unlike dogs, who were bred for thousands of years to work right alongside humans, cats kind of just domesticates themselves. They figured out that hanging around humans meant free food, specifically mice, and they basically hired us as their personal staff. Deep down, your cute little fluffball who is terrified of the vacuum cleaner is still hardwired like a wild, solitary apex predator. In the wild, cats communicate mostly through scent and body language to avoid physical fights. Meowing is actually something adult cats developed almost exclusively to talk to us. They literally invented a special language just to manipulate you into opening a can of tuna. So, when your cat is acting weird, they aren't actually being crazy. They are just a tiny jungle panther trying to navigate a modern world filled with automatic feeders, annoying closed doors, and humans who insist on dressing them up in little sweaters. Keeping that wild ancestry in mind is the master key to understanding everything they do. Let's start with the absolute classic, the slow blink. Have you ever caught your cat staring at you from across the room, looking like a tiny furry mob boss, and then they slowly close and open their eyes? No, they aren't falling asleep out of sheer boredom, and they definitely aren't plotting your demise in slow motion. Well, maybe a little, but not in this specific moment. This adorable gesture is actually known in the feline psychology world as a cat kiss. In the wild, closing their eyes in the presence of another creature is the absolute ultimate display of vulnerability. It means they feel completely safe around you. They are essentially saying, I trust you enough to let my guard down, human. You may live another day. But here is the most fun part about this behavior. You can actually talk back to them. If you catch your feline overlord giving you the slow blink, don't just sit there staring blankly. Soften your gaze and slowly blink back at them. It is like a secret handshake between species. If they blink back again, congratulations! You have just successfully communicated in cat language and solidified your bond. Just be careful not to hold direct, unblinking eye contact for too long before doing it, because a hard stare is a threat. Ah, the gift giver. Is there anything quite as special as waking up, stepping out of bed and putting your bare foot directly onto a soggy, half-chewed toy mouse? Or worse, a real one? Your immediate reaction might be to scream, but wait, why on earth does your furry friend insist on bringing you their prey? Many cat parents think this is a bribe, or maybe a warning of what happens if dinner is late. The truth is actually incredibly sweet and a little bit insulting. In a cat family, the mother teaches her kittens how to hunt by bringing them dead or injured prey. Since you are clearly a massive, hairless, and completely incompetent hunter who has never once successfully caught a bird in the living room, your cat is taking pity on you. They view you as part of their family, but also as a giant baby who needs to be fed. When they drop a toy mouse at your feet, they are saying, "Here, human. I bought you dinner because I know you are entirely incapable of catching anything yourself." So, the next time your cat presents you with a slobbery stuffed animal, don't throw it away in disgust. Tell them what a mighty hunter they are and thank them for keeping you alive for one more day. Have you ever been minding your own business, maybe watching TV, when suddenly your cat walks up and aggressively smashes their forehead against your face? It feels a bit like a tiny furry linebacker trying to tackle you. This behavior is officially called bunting. And no, they are not trying to give you a concussion. They are actually claiming you as their property. Cats have special scent glands located right on their cheeks, their foreheads, and the base of their tails. When they rub their head against you, they are essentially smearing their personal pheromones all over you. Think of it like a feline version of putting a giant name tag on you that says, "Property of Fluffy." They are leaving a scent message for any other animals in the neighborhood that clearly states you are already taken. It is an incredibly affectionate gesture. They only bother to mark things that they consider valuable and important to their territory. So, if your cat gives you a good head bunt, take it as the highest compliment. You aren't just their human anymore. You are officially part of their turf. You are their prized possession, right up there with their favorite cardboard box. Next up is the universally beloved behavior of kneading, also known as making biscuits. You know exactly what I am talking about. It is when your cat climbs onto your lap, extends their claws, and starts rhythmically marching on your stomach like they are preparing dough for a massive pizza. Sometimes they purr so loudly they sound like a broken lawnmower while they do it. But why do they insist on using our fragile human skin as a dough board? This behavior goes all the way back to their earliest days as tiny kittens. When they were nursing, kittens would knead their mother's belly to stimulate the flow of milk. It is a deeply ingrained instinct associated with ultimate comfort, warmth, and absolute safety. If your adult cat is making biscuits on you, it means they are feeling incredibly happy and secure in that exact moment. They associate you with the safety and love of their mother. It is a huge compliment. However, we all know that the happier the cat, the sharper the claws seem to get. If your little baker is painfully tenderizing your thighs, don't yell at them or push them away roughly. Just gently slip a thick blanket between their paws and your skin and let them bake in peace. Let's talk about the absolute terror that is the 3 a.m. zoomies. The house is completely dark, the neighborhood is totally quiet, and you are deep in sleep. Suddenly, it sounds like a herd of miniature horses is stampeding down the hallway. Your cat is sprinting off the walls, drifting around corners and fighting unseen ghosts in the kitchen. What on earth is happening? Did they lose their mind? No. Your cat is experiencing what scientists politely call frenzied random activity periods, or FRAPs. But why always in the middle of the night? Remember that wild panther ancestry we talked about? Cats are crepuscular, meaning they are naturally most active at dawn and dusk. In the wild, this is prime hunting time. Because your pampered house cat spends 16 hours a day sleeping on the sofa, they build up an enormous amount of pent-up energy. When the sun goes down, their biological clock screams, "It is time to hunt!" Since there are no gazelles to chase in your living room, they just sprint wildly to burn off that explosive energy. The best way to survive the midnight madness is to play with them aggressively right before bedtime. Tire out that inner panther so you can both sleep. Behold the most dangerous game in the feline world, the belly trap. Your cat rolls over onto their back, stretches out gracefully, and exposes that incredibly soft, fluffy, irresistible tummy. It looks exactly like an invitation for a belly rub, right? Like a dog would do. So, you reach your hand in, ready for cuddles, and bam! You are suddenly caught in a blender made of sharp claws and tiny needle teeth. Why do they trick us like this? Here is the secret. Showing the belly is a massive sign of trust. A cat's stomach is their most vulnerable area. All their vital organs are right there. By exposing it to you, they are saying, "I feel so completely relaxed and safe in your presence that I do not need to protect my most sensitive parts." It is a beautiful statement of love. But here is the catch. It is almost never an invitation to touch. When you touch the belly, their wild survival instinct instantly kicks in. Their brain says, "Danger! Vulnerable area under attack!" and they react with defensive biting and kicking. So, when you see the fluffy belly, admire it from a distance. Say, "Wow, what a nice tummy," but keep your hands to yourself or stick to scratching behind the ears. Have you ever seen your cat sitting in the window staring intently at a bird or a squirrel outside, and suddenly their jaw starts rapidly vibrating? They make this bizarre, staccato, ek chattering sound that makes them sound like a broken old dial-up modem or a tiny machine gun. It is hilarious, but what exactly are they trying to communicate? Some people think they are trying to mock the birds, but it is actually deeply rooted in their hunting instincts. When a cat spots prey that they desperately want to catch, but absolutely cannot reach because of that annoying invisible force field called a window, they experience extreme frustration and anticipation. The chattering motion is essentially an involuntary rehearsal of the kill bite. In the wild, a cat uses a precise, rapid biting motion to the back of the neck to swiftly take down their prey. When your cat chatters at the window, their instincts are taking over so completely that their jaw just starts acting out the final strike automatically. They are basically daydreaming about murder. It is a sign of immense excitement mixed with complete frustration. Maybe give them a feather wand to play with to burn off that predatory tension. One of the most infuriating yet deeply funny cat behaviors is their absolute obsession with gravity. You know the drill. Your cat casually walks across the table, locks eyes with you, slowly raises a single paw, and deliberately pushes your favorite coffee mug off the edge. Smash! They look down at the mess and then look back at you with zero remorse. Why do our fluffy little sociopaths do this? Are they just being jerks? Well, partially, but it actually stems from two things: a hunting instinct and a desperate cry for attention. A cat's paw pads are highly sensitive, and they use them to explore objects, testing if a potential prey is alive and going to scurry away. But more importantly, cats are incredibly smart. They learn cause and effect very quickly. They realize that when they push a pen or a glass off the table, you instantly jump up, shout their name, and run over. Boom! They just got your attention. Even if you are annoyed, to a cat, negative attention is still attention. If they are bored and want you to interact with them, they know that dropping a water glass on the floor works 100% of the time. If you want it to stop, you have to ignore the behavior and maybe buy some plastic cups. This next one is a tough pill to swallow for all of us cat parents. You are sitting on the couch, you see your cat across the room, and you lovingly call their name. "Here, kitty kitty, come here, Fluffy." And what does your cat do? Absolutely nothing. They don't even turn their head. They might flick one single ear in your direction, but otherwise, they treat you like you don't exist. You start to wonder, is my cat deaf? Did they forget their name? I have some bad news for you. Science has proven that cats absolutely know their own names. They can distinguish the sound of their name from other words, and they definitely recognize their owner's voice. The hard truth? They just don't care. Unlike dogs, who were bred to eagerly obey commands and seek our approval, cats operate on a system of, "What's in it for me?" If you are just calling them over for a pat on the head, they might decide that getting up from their warm sunbeam just isn't worth the effort. The ear flick is their way of saying, "I hear you, human. Your request has been received, processed, and currently denied." Try opening a can of wet food or shaking a bag of treats, and watch how quickly their hearing miraculously returns. Let's talk about the mysterious allure of the cardboard box. You go out and spend $100 on an imported, ergonomic, multi-level velvet cat tree. You assemble it with love and sweat. You present it to your cat, and they completely ignore it. Instead, they climb into the tiny, crushed, ugly cardboard box that the cat tree came in. In fact, if there is an empty box anywhere in the house, regardless of its size, your cat will attempt to cram themselves into it. If I fits, I sits. Why do they prefer trash over luxury? It comes down to safety and stress relief. In the wild, cats are ambush predators, meaning they like to hide and observe their surroundings unseen. A box provides the perfect enclosed space where nothing can sneak up on them from behind. It makes them feel incredibly safe. Furthermore, cardboard is an excellent insulator. Cats have a higher normal body temperature than humans, and they love to be warm. A small cardboard box traps their body heat perfectly, creating a cozy little sauna. Studies have even shown that shelter cats who are given boxes adapt faster and have significantly lower stress levels. So don't feel bad about the expensive cat tree. To your cat, that cheap box is a secure, heated fortress. Here is a scenario that leaves many cat owners feeling betrayed. The petting-induced aggression. Your cat comes up to you, purring loudly, begging for attention. You start gently stroking their back. Everything is wonderful. You are bonding. Then, out of absolutely nowhere, without any warning, they turn around, sink their teeth into your hand, and bolt out of the room. You sit there, bleeding slightly, wondering what you did wrong. Did they suddenly decide they hate you? Not at all. This is a classic case of overstimulation. Unlike dogs, who can usually be pet for hours on end without issue, cats have highly sensitive nerve endings. While the petting feels really good at first, eventually the repeated strokes can become overwhelming or even physically irritating. It is like when someone tickles you. At first you laugh, but eventually you want them to stop immediately. The bite is their very abrupt way of saying, "Okay, that is enough, I'm done." The secret is to watch their body language. Before the bite, they usually give subtle warning signs. Their tail might start twitching rapidly, their ears might flatten slightly, or their skin might ripple. Learn to read the signs and stop petting before the teeth come out. Have you ever been petting your cat, stroking your hand down their back, and as you reach the base of their tail, their back legs stiffen and their rear end shoots straight up into the air? We affectionately call this the elevator butt. It looks completely ridiculous, almost like they are trying to do a yoga pose or present their behind to you. What is the meaning behind this funny posture? The base of a cat's tail is an incredibly sensitive area. It is packed with a massive concentration of nerve endings. When you scratch or pet them right in that sweet spot, it actually feels insanely good to them. Elevating the rear end is an involuntary reflex, an instinctual reaction that means, yes, right there, keep doing exactly that. It is also a behaviour that harks back to kittenhood, as mother cats groom that area to keep their babies clean. Furthermore, in cat communication, offering the rear end is a sign of ultimate trust and friendly greeting. When cats greet each other amicably, they often sniff each other's tails. So, when your cat gives you the elevator butt, they are giving you a glowing review of your petting skills and showing you that they view you as a trusted friend. Why is it mathematically impossible to go to the bathroom alone when you own a cat? You walk in, shut the door, and 3 seconds later you see a tiny paw desperately reaching under the doorframe, accompanied by dramatic, mournful meowing. If you let them in, they just sit there and stare at you, or decide to curl up in your underwear around your ankles. Why the bathroom obsession? There are a few reasons. First, cats are incredibly territorial, and they hate closed doors. A closed door is an insult. It means there is a part of their kingdom they cannot survey. Second, cats know that when you are on the toilet, you are a captive audience. You cannot walk away, which makes it the perfect time to demand pets and attention. But the most interesting reason goes back to their pack mentality. In the wild, going to the bathroom is a very vulnerable time for an animal. Your cat might actually be acting as your bodyguard. They follow you in to stand watch and make sure no predators attack you while you are in a compromising position. So, the next time your cat intensely guards you while you use the toilet, thank them for their dedicated security service. This one is genuinely a little bit spooky. You are relaxing in your living room, reading a book, when suddenly your cat stops dead in their tracks. Their eyes dilate, their ears perk up, and they stare fixedly at a completely blank corner of the ceiling for 5 solid minutes. You look, you squint, you shine a flashlight, but there is absolutely nothing there. It makes you wonder, can cats see ghosts? While it might feel supernatural, the science behind it is just as fascinating. Cats have phenomenally powerful senses that completely dwarf ours. Their vision is highly attuned to detecting the tiniest, most subtle movements, even in very low light. They might be watching a speck of dust floating on a microscopic air current that you literally cannot see. Even more impressive is their hearing. A cat's ears are like satellite dishes. They can rotate independently and pick up high-frequency sounds that are totally imperceptible to human ears. When your cat is staring at the blank wall, they might be listening to a mouse scratching inside the drywall, or a bug crawling behind the baseboard, or water moving in a pipe 2 floors up. They aren't seeing ghosts. They just have built-in superpowers. Picture this. You are having a nice, quiet cuddle session with your cat. They look up at you, open their mouth incredibly wide, show off all those tiny, sharp teeth, and let out a massive yawn right in your face. Sometimes it is accompanied by a little squeak or a rush of fishy breath. It is easy to take this personally. Are they bored by your conversation? Are they exhausted from doing nothing all day? Actually, a yawn in cat language means something completely different than it does in human language. While we yawn when we are tired or bored, cats often yawn as a way to signal transition or peacefulness. If a cat feels a little bit of tension or wants to show another animal that they mean no harm, they will yawn. It is a pacifying gesture that says, "I am totally relaxed, I am not a threat, and I am feeling peaceful." When they yawn directly in your face, they are basically telling you that they feel completely content and safe in your presence. It is a sign of deep relaxation. Of course, it also means they might be waking up from their 7th nap of the day and getting ready for dinner, but mostly it is a very sweet sign of feline tranquility. Let's discuss the most famous cat sound of all, the purr. The deep, rumbling vibration that sounds like a tiny engine inside their chest. Most people believe that purring simply means a cat is happy, and yes, a lot of the time that is absolutely true. When they are curled up in your lap, making biscuits and purring, they are in pure bliss. But purring is actually much more complex than just a feline smile. Cats also purr when they are stressed, frightened, or even in pain. Think of it like a human nervously whistling in the dark or humming to themselves to stay calm. Female cats purr while giving birth. Injured cats will purr at the vet. Why? Scientists have discovered that the specific frequency of a cat's purr, between 25 and 150 Hz, actually has healing properties. This frequency has been shown to improve bone density, repair tendons, and ease breathing. So, a purring cat might be self-medicating or trying to soothe themselves in a stressful situation. It is essentially a built-in magical healing vibration. Always look at the context. If they are purring at the vet, they are scared. If they are purring on your chest, they are just telling you they love you. If you want to survive living with a cat, you absolutely must learn to read their tail. A dog wags its tail when it is happy and excited, but a cat's tail is a completely different instrument. If your cat's tail is sticking straight up in the air with a little curve at the tip, like a question mark, they are feeling confident, friendly, and happy to see you. But what about when that tail starts twitching or thumping against the floor? Many people mistake this for happiness, similar to a dog's wag. This is a critical error. A thumping or rapidly swishing tail on a cat is a massive warning sign. It indicates agitation, annoyance, or intense predatory focus. It means their internal emotional engine is revving up and they are getting frustrated. If you are petting your cat and their tail starts aggressively thumping the couch cushions, that is your final warning to stop before the teeth and claws come out. The faster and harder the swish, the more annoyed the cat is. Learning to read the subtle twitches of a cat's tail is the easiest way to avoid those out-of-nowhere bites and scratches we talked about earlier. The tail never lies. You walk through the front door after a long day at work, and your cat immediately runs up, weaves between your legs, and aggressively rubs their cheeks and sides all over your pants. It is so cute you might trip over them. It feels like they are saying, "I missed you so much." And while they probably did miss you, or at least they missed the person who opens the food cans, there is a deeper, more primitive reason for this leg-rubbing ritual. Remember those scent glands we mentioned during the head bunting? Cats have them all along their sides and on their flanks as well. When you go outside, you pick up all sorts of weird, foreign smells. Other people, the grocery store, maybe even gasp another animal. To your cat, you come home smelling completely wrong. By rubbing furiously against your legs, they are desperately trying to cover up those strange odors with their own familiar scent profile. They are reapplying their ownership stamp on you. It is a way of reclaiming you and making you smell like home again. So, when they weave through your legs, they are saying, "Welcome back. Now let me just fix how terribly you smell so everyone knows you are mine." Here is a classic mystery. You put out a beautiful, expensive ceramic bowl filled with crystal clear, freshly filtered water for your cat. They ignore it completely. 10 minutes later, you find them on your nightstand, desperately trying to shove their entire head into your small glass of tap water to take a drink. Or maybe they sit in the sink and scream until you turn the faucet on to a tiny drip. Why do they refuse their own water bowl? There are a couple of fascinating reasons for this. First, in the wild, standing water is often stagnant and full of bacteria, while running water is fresh and safe. Instinctively, cats prefer moving water or water from unexpected sources because their DNA tells them it is safer. Secondly, it might be an issue called whisker fatigue. A cat's whiskers are highly sensitive sensory organs. If their water bowl is too narrow or deep, their whiskers constantly brush against the sides while they drink, which can actually be physically uncomfortable or overwhelming for them. Your human glass might just be the perfect shape. If you want to keep them out of your cups, try getting a wider, shallower water bowl. Or, better yet, invest in a pet water fountain. They love the running stream. Finally, the classic working from home dilemma. You sit down at your desk, open your laptop to start an important project, and within seconds, your cat jumps up and sprawls their entire body directly across the keyboard. There goes your email. You move them and they jump right back. Why is the laptop suddenly the most comfortable place in the house? While we like to joke that they are just trying to sabotage our careers, the truth is a mix of practicality and affection. First and foremost, laptops are warm. They generate heat, and as we know, cats are heat-seeking missiles. A running laptop is basically a perfectly sized, perfectly heated blanket for them. But there is a secondary, sweeter reason. When you are working on your computer, your complete focus and attention are directed at that glowing screen. Your cat sees you staring intently at this object, and their logic dictates, if my human is paying so much attention to this flat, warm thing, then sitting on the flat, warm thing is the best way to get the human to pay attention to me. They are quite literally placing themselves directly between you and what is distracting you from worshipping them. It is annoying, but it is also a brilliant strategy. And there you have it. Now you know exactly what is going on inside that chaotic, fluffy little head of theirs. From the midnight zoomies to the infamous belly trap, every weird thing your cat does is just their own special way of interacting with the world and communicating with you. They might not speak English, but their body language speaks volumes if you just know how to listen. Living with a cat means accepting that you share your home with a tiny, unpredictable jungle predator who thinks you are just a large, clumsy cat who is bad at hunting. But honestly, despite all the knocked-over glasses and the 3 a.m. wake-up calls, we wouldn't trade them for the world. Their funny little quirks are exactly why we absolutely adore them. If this video helped you understand your feline overlord a little bit better, please do me a huge favor. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for more awesome cat content, and share this video with a fellow cat parent who is constantly confused by their pet. Now, I want to hear from you. Which one of these 20 signs does your cat do the absolutely most? Let me know down in the comments and I will see you in the next video.